It's 5:33 a.m. You are a 22-year-old broke college student sitting in a dorm room at UC San Diego, and the cursor on your screen is flickering at you like it's begging to move. It's 2004. Your roommate is asleep. The dorm next to you is constantly distracting you. You have 3 tabs open. One is a thread about game physics, one is your half-finished computer science homework due the next day at 11:59 p.m., and one is an untitled blank document that you've been staring at for 40 minutes because you have an idea that's been bothering you and won't seem to leave your mind. Your idea is so simple that it's embarrassing to even say out loud. What if anyone could build games inside a game, and then other people could play inside that game? It sounds crazy, but also something that could work. Not a game editor coded into an existing game, not another paid tool for developers. Something open for all at the very root. A platform where the game is you actually making the game. You type a few lines of notes, delete them, type them again. You know enough about software engineering to understand that what you're describing doesn't really exist yet. You also know enough to understand why. It's very difficult to code something like that, and the gaming industry in 2004 was not thinking about 12-year-olds as developers. It's thinking about PlayStation 2 and Halo 2 and budgets that would make your student bank account scream. But you are not thinking about the industry. You are thinking about the idea. And that single thought is about to cost you every comfort in your life and give you something you never actually asked for. You drop out of your graduate degree 8 months later. You quit quietly, no speech, no back and forth with your parents. You just stop going to the classes that aren't teaching you what you need, and you start spending 16 hours a day building the first version of something you're calling Roblox, a name you've landed on because it sounds like a toy and an engine at the same time, because it sounds like something a kid would trust. Your partner, Eric, is building alongside you. The two of you share a working flow state that doesn't need constant conversation. He understands the workspace, you see the vision, and the difference between those two things is where the real work lives. You haven't had a good night's sleep in months. You eat whatever's close. You write code until your eyes get sore, and then you write more code, again and again. The first version is so terrible in a way that would make you cringe now. The physics engine is unstable. The building tools are awkward. The multiplayer feature breaks constantly in ways that are frustrating and sometimes funny, and occasionally cause days of work added to your workflow. But when you put it in front of a small group of kids, actual children, not developers, not testers with notepads and always have something to say, something happens that you never expected. They don't see the bugs. They see the possibility. They build little houses and knock them down. They make obbies and see who can get to the end faster. They argue about whose favorite obby is better with the kind of passion that game designers spend millions trying to manufacture. You watch this from across a folding table in your local community center, and something shifts in your chest. Not exactly pride, but recognition. You were right about the idea. Now you have to be right about everything else. The first years are a financial negotiation with disaster. You raise your seed round in 2005, which keeps the lights on but doesn't feel like safety. Every month is a calculation. Servers cost this much, bandwidth costs this much, you have this many users, and your revenue from your premium currency, Robux, isn't yet covering the gap. You make choices in those years, choices you'll think about in quiet moments for the rest of your career. You choose to make it free to play because you genuinely believe the only way this is going to work is if it's free to play, which means you're making an investment in business models that don't yet exist for a demographic, children, who are completely ignored by the entire advertising industry. You're, in essence, gambling your entire business on your ability to convince kids to spend money within your game if you can give them something worth spending it on, and parents who will let them, and your ability to handle all of that responsibly. Every single one of those is a risk, and you know it. There is a morning in 2006 when you receive a call from your server provider informing you that usage has spiked overnight in a way that is going to cost you significantly more than you budgeted for. Not because something has gone wrong, because something has gone right. A group of players has created something that has gone viral in the early pre-YouTube meaning of the word, and thousands of kids have logged in to see it, and your infrastructure has buckled under the weight of people wanting to be there. You hang up the phone and sit for a moment with the vertigo of a problem caused by success. You make calls, you negotiate, you figure it out. But you know in that moment that you are not building a product anymore. You are building infrastructure for a world, and the world does not care about your runway. The growth is not a straight line. It never is. There are years where the user base grows steadily, and years where a technical decision you made 18 months ago has turned out to have been wrong in a way that cost you weeks of engineering time to fix. There are years where a competitor launches something that looks like what you've built, and you spend 3 long, sleepless nights doing competitive research, convincing yourself that you're still in the lead, and then 3 more nights wondering if you were right to feel convinced. The gaming media doesn't pay much mind to you until they have to. The tech media outside the gaming world knows you exist when they think about you as a children's toy company, which is both unfair and somewhat accurate, and you learn to be comfortable with being misunderstood because the alternative, being taken seriously by people who want a piece of what you've built, brings its own problems. You have millions of users by 2011. The number itself isn't the problem, it's the time it takes to feel real to you. Millions of children are logging in and building things, playing things built by other children, and some of those children are making real money through the exchange program, which was a decision you made and one that comes with a lot of moral weight and one that you take seriously. You're by this time the means by which a 13-year-old child in Ohio makes enough money playing a game they built to contribute to the family income. That is extraordinary. It is also a responsibility that sits on you like a physical thing, because for every success story, there is a kid who built something, poured months into it, and earned almost nothing, and you have to hold both of those truths in your mind at the same time without either one blinding you. The safety infrastructure is the thing that keeps you awake the longest at night. You're building a platform where children will be. Not teenagers, not adults who can handle it, children. 7 or 8 years old in some cases, interacting with strangers in real time in a virtual world that you created. The potential for harm is not abstract. There are predators. There are bad actors who will find your platform. You know that before anyone else makes you realize it in front of the press. You build systems around it anyway. You build moderation tools. You build chat filters. You build reporting tools. You build parental tools. You hire trust and safety teams before the term is even part of the conversation in the rest of the industry. You have to think about what kind of speech is allowed. You have to think about what kind of content is not allowed. And you have to think about it in a space where the law is still evolving in terms of what a virtual world is. You succeed at it in some ways. You fail at it in some ways. Every time you fail at it imperfectly, it costs you. There is a specific morning, you don't remember the exact year, but it is sometime in the mid-2010s, and a report comes across your desk about something that happened on the platform. Someone was attacked, and the filters did not catch it. It was real. You read the report twice. You then call your trust and safety team and you ask them to tell you what they need that they do not currently have. Not what is in the budget, what they need. This changes how you think about staffing and how you think about their budget. It does not, however, undo what has been done. You will remember this in a specific way that is different from how you remember business failures, because a business failure is something that costs money, and this is something that money cannot fix. The developer community is the thing that will surprise you most and will continue to surprise you. You made the tools, you made the framework, but the creativity that is expressed through those tools is not yours, it is theirs. Some of those developers are teenagers. Some of those developers are grown men now who have been working on Roblox since they were 11 years old, have grown up through the platform, have developed skills, have developed aesthetic sensibilities that you could never have possibly anticipated, nor could you always follow. There is a game called Adopt Me that becomes at one point one of the most played games in the world by any metric you can possibly use. You did not make it. 2 developers made it. You made the platform on which they made it, which is different. It's like building a city rather than building a building, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with the fact that the things people love most about Roblox are the things that you did not create. The IPO in 2021 is a moment of surreal arithmetic. The company is worth a figure that would have made no sense to the person in the dorm room in 2004, typing and deleting and typing again. You rung a bell in a ritual that has meaning in the world of finance and different meaning for you. The people you've worked with for years are set for life in ways that feel good and right. The world of institutional demands, quarterly reports, analyst calls, and the unique grammar of public company responsibility is a different kind of burden from the startup kind, less existential but more constant, and you learn to live with it in the same way you've learned to live with each previous iteration of what this company would require of you. But 2021 also means you're a company large enough so that every decision you make in terms of platform has the potential to be news. When you fail at content moderation, you fail in front of millions of people, and it's news. When you make changes to the way you pay developers, you have to deal with the reality that the people you need the most are also the people who have the most legitimate complaints when things go wrong.
The relationship between platform and creators is always a negotiation, and it's always changing, and you always know the creators you've relied on the most are the ones who have made careers on your platform in the hopes you'd keep it fair, that you'd keep the rules the same so they could keep building on the platform you provided for them.